What's up, everybody? It's been a while since we've gone live here on YouTube, so hail and welcome to everybody who's out here watching on the YouTube's, platform, that sort of thing. Thank you so much for watching. Figured I would go live here a little bit and try to, get a little bit of attention to the YouTube channel. We recently did a new video, which I'm going to try to link down in the description or the chat. Still figuring this all out. So if you're out there, please comment that you're watching live. Hey, Patrick. How you doing? Hello, Wilhelmer Atir. Do I know Norvin Hobbs? Hey, unknown survivor, man, what's going on? I haven't seen you in a minute. Hello, Matthew Pitry, a good friend over at Odin's Beard Woodworking. Hail and welcome, everybody. Good to see you. To answer your question, Wilhelmer, I do not know Norvin. Doesn't ring a bell. I am doing fine. Thank you, Patrick. Thank you for asking. I just recently uploaded a new video here on the channel about Valhalla, and if we as modern heathens can get there, can get to Valhalla, so on and so forth, and I'd like to share that with everybody that's watching live right now. So bear with me just a second while I grab that link. There it is. A whole bunch of people. Ingo Lightfoot, Skull. Storm Singer, Hail. Is there reincarnation in heathenry? Asking from Dingo. Thank you for asking that question, guys and gals who are just tuning in and watching the live stream here on Midgard Musings. It's a very rare sort of occurrence. Thank you for asking that question, Dingo, and I will get to your answer here in just a moment. Storm Singer, this is Alfred. Okay, Alfred, I think I know who you are. And Matthew's about to burn 3 rune sets. That's tremendous. I know you, Matthew, are working on rune sets under the full moon. So that's really super cool and awesome. So Dingo Lightfoot asks, is there reincarnation in heathenry? There has been enough of documentation or information pulled from historical sources that support the fact that there was a concept of reincarnation within the Norse heathen Germanic sort of culture. And when I say reincarnation, I mean that there's enough of the parts of self, sort of in the context of the video that I just uploaded tonight. There are parts of the self that will sort of support the idea of a reincarnation. I'm not sure exactly what you're specifically referring to, but the idea of reincarnation, that parts of an individual exist beyond the physical existence of life. There is some sort of that exists in a Norse view of the afterlife after the physical body dies. There are multiple parts of the self that are labeled. beyond just like your soul, your mind, your physical parts, like beyond just the generic sort of three labeled parts of the self that exist in a lot of the Christian worldviews. We have a lot of parts of ourself that the Norse viewed as existing beyond the physical. So reincarnation was, in a short answer, was yes, was definitely a part of things, because parts of the self existed beyond the physical representation of life. So we had, examples of the parts of the self that exist, the philia, the chaminia, all these various spiritual parts of the Norse view of self. Yes. In a short answer for your question, Dingo, yes. Reincarnation does exist in a Norse view. I want to do a video on a little bit more in-depth sort of attack into those things, but to answer your answer your question, then yes. 10 that you heard of. Spencer Wells says, are we waiting for the 3 long winters back to back, the first Ragnarok, or are we waiting for the second Ragnarok? Should we be looking to the offspring of Thor as far as gods are concerned? So you're asking a question that sort of envelops a concept of what Ragnarok truly means. There's a lot of varying views of what Ragnarok is to many heathens. For a lot of folks, Ragnarok has already happened. For some, Ragnarok is a cyclic thing that is constantly repeating and ongoing. And I have yet to do a video on that. And as a matter of fact, I sort of alluded to the interest of doing a video specifically for the subject or the topic of Ragnarok. And I'm a little bit favoring of the side of that Ragnarok is cyclic. And even though I am a hard polytheist, and that I believe that the gods exist in their own right and in their own way, that the existence of Ragnarok, this cyclic sort of doom of the gods, the way that we see in the lore, that it's very definitive as to when and where and how the gods meet their doom. Where we fit in modern heathen times along that construct of lore, I have my own sort of view on that sort of thing. So I'm not going to get into that deeply into this discussion right now live, but it is a great question, and I want to sort of attack that in a later video. Okay, so thank you, Spencer, for asking that. Like Dingo, so I'm reading the comments of the live stream. Dingo says Ragnarok is pretty much a ring that ends, but a ring that begins. Animism. Yes, largely and all encompassing. Yes. So I look at the world as this sort of ongoing cyclic event of or ongoing cyclic series of events. Okay. The way the lore portrays things and the way things sort of were written for us to glean from tend to portray a very cyclic series of events. So I'm very cyclic in my view of the world and in the way I see things. It's not that it is 100% done and over with, and we are here in a total separate time. It's that we exist in time now that kind of encompasses parts of a cyclic event that our ancestors couldn't necessarily specifically pinpoint the reality of. We exist in a reality now that our ancestors sort of had a little bit of an insight of, but it wasn't just like, this is how it's going to be forever and ever, ongoing and forward and on such. So, I mean, it's a very complex sort of view of the world, right? We are in modern times. We are in the 21st century, and we exist in a time that has a lot of modern elements involved in our existences, and the things that we are gleaning from that come from ancient times, things that didn't exist in its specific state as we are now, we have to sort of kind of like glean from and pull out all the, some things exist no matter what parts of reality you exist in, no matter what generation you exist in, no matter what whether I live in the 21st century, whether people who I'm reading stuff from existed in a 12th, 13th century level of existence, there are certain parts of life that are relevant from their perspective of life versus our perspective of life. It's all relative or relevant, I should say. So that's, it's very complex, guys. And I have a certain view of the world, and I'm the type of person that's just like, I look at certain things in a certain way, and I glean from the past, and I look at what exists in the past, and I go, all right, I get it. I understand why they thought a certain way, but I'm also like, we're in modern times now. There's been generations and there's been gaps that have happened that we're stuck in, so we have to grow in a progressive way. So let me just go back and read the comments from everybody. Hello, Patrick, Dingo, Spencer. Hello, Kimberly. Missed the first 10 minutes. It's all good. It's just been an ongoing sort of live stream discussion about some of the metaphysical aspects of eternity and reality that we as modern heathens kind of see. So like Matt Petrie says, his grandfather always said that Ragnarok was the coming of Christians, and the gods are sleeping, and it's up to us to wake them, and that's what he is working on. And I can specifically attest to Matthew Pitrie's work with his hand working of God poles, God altars, altar pieces, things that accentuate our sacred space here in modern times as heathens. Matthew over at Odin's Beard Woodworking does a tremendous service, a tremendously good service. Okay. Let me just show you guys real quick. So here is my Thor piece. The detail that Thor carries, he's got his hammer, and if I spin him around, you can see, excuse me there, buddy, you can see the like intricate detail of his hair, the chainmail, the armor, everything is such a beautifully detailed focus on the deity. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, everybody that's watching live on YouTube, this is the handiwork of Matthew Pitry over at Odin's Beard Woodworking. All right. I want you guys to check out odinsbeardwoodworking.com. If you are looking for a altar piece that accentuates your sacred space, he does things in altar pocket pocket or pocket altar sizes, which is what this representation would be. We're looking at about a 2-inch, 2 to 3 inch size. He does things up to 6 inches, up to a foot. He does wonderful work. All right, everybody. So in terms of what you're looking for, and he does all of the deities, man, like so much attention is focused on what you've got here. Like, if I could show this to you in person, like, you're looking at a phenomenal piece of hand-carved, handcrafted work. And let me tell you guys, none of any of Matt's work touches a power tool. Like, all of this is handcrafted. When I say handcrafted, I mean no power tools touch anything that Matt does. There's no saws, there's no drills. All of the pieces of work that you see, the woodworking is done by hand. By hand meaning the sweat and the effort and the power behind the person. There's no electronics, there's no drills, there's no, synthetics, anything about this. It's, my camera doesn't do it justice, ladies and gentlemen, but what I'm saying here right now is odinsbeardwoodworking.com. Matthew Pitcher, he's commenting down below. If you want to reach out to him. Matt, please link your stuff down in the live chat. But ladies and gentlemen, please check out what Matt does in his work, because it's phenomenal. Okay, I support it. I'm totally in love with his work. And Matt, one of these days I'm going to get more stuff to accentuate my altar. But this Thor, this is my guy. Thor is my guy. All right, Thor is my guy, and Matt provided me with this piece. And whenever I travel, he goes with me, but he stays on my altar. And this is a beautiful piece that Matthew Pitcher has done. So everybody, please be sure to check out his work. Okay. Let me catch up and read some of the content. Yeah, Odin's Beard Woodworking. Ladies and gentlemen, please stick around, because I'm going to comment or add, down below in the comments for everybody that is watching right now on the live stream. Please check out Matt's store. Okay. I've just commented down below in the live stream for Matthew's store online. Jimmy Estep, Odin's Beard Woodworking is the only place he goes to for his altar pieces. They are beautiful. They are, Jimmy. And I'm not just saying this, guys, because first of all, let me just say, I am not paid, endorsed, or any sort of monetarily, backing from Matt or his store. Right? This guy is the real deal, and if I could say the real deal to any extent of the word, right? Like, Matt does the real deal. I'm not paid, I'm not endorsed, I'm not sponsored in any way. I'm saying it because it's true and it's real, and Matt does the real work, right? He does what he does out of the love and the passion for this sort of thing. And he's trying to support his family, man. Like, he's trying to provide a life for him and his family. And if that's not heathen, man, I don't know what is. Okay. If you're not out there trying to provide for your loved ones, to provide for your family, to provide for your clan. That's not heathen. And Matt is out there doing it. He's literally one of the most sincere folks that I know. Struggling through real life stuff, battling through real life stuff, and he still does what he does in the passion of the moment, and he does what he does because he loves it. And Jimmy says it, like Jimmy says it. It's right there. Odin's Beard Woodworking is the only place he goes to for altar pieces. They are beautiful. And ladies and gentlemen, I can't disagree. Okay. Support your local artisans. Okay, folks, support your local artisans, because folks like Matt and all these other places that you may know that are local, they do good work, and they do work that not just supports themselves, but it supports the larger heathen community at large. So check out Odin's Beard Woodworking, and definitely get you something that's going to accentuate your altar, because I'm telling you, you're not going to regret it. First of all, you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck, right? I can't say that just enough. You're going to get the biggest bang for your buck. You're going to get a quality piece of altar accentuation items, and Matt's going to take care of you. He's going to take care of you. He's going to do what he does in his most professional way, and he's going to look out for your best interest. He's not going to look out just to make a buck. All right. He does what he does out of the love and the purity and the support of the heathen community. So big ups to Matt from Odin's Beard Woodworking. Hey, Bug Brain says he's an animistic heathen, and his altar space is a bit different than most, at least in the North heathen community by comparison. Hello, Keeper of Solitude, who says that he's glad he got home work early for this. Bug Brain, whatever you have going on, whatever you're looking for to accentuate your sacred space, Matt at Odin's Beard Woodworking can probably, and I would vouch for him in terms of what you're looking for and what he can provide for you. So if you're looking for something, definitely reach out to him. So thanks for watching. Hey, Austin Caldwell. Serious question. Has anyone ever seen a Valkyrie in a dream or a golden doors of Valhalla? Because he has. Austin, I feel that your question is definitely valid. Okay. And I feel that the feedback that we would get from a question like that is certainly dipping into the unverified personal gnosis of spiritual experiences. I personally have never encountered the essence or the spiritual essence of a Valkyrie. The Valkyries, by and large, have their part in lore as being the selectors or choosers of the slain, of the battle fallen, of the battle dead. Okay. But again, I don't discount what people experience, and I don't discount what people feel. So perhaps you have seen or felt a certain presence of this sort of a spiritual deity that has a sort of power or a presence over the selectors of the mortal self as being dead. My most recent video, which I've commented down below, I'm going to also put down here in the comment section for you to check out. I feel that the modern view, the modern construct of the presence of the Valkyrie, the existence of the Valkyrie in modern heathen times is there's a lot of obscurity. There's a lot of convoluted things that exist because when and where the Valkyrie exists in lore happened at a time when, kind of like the Valhalla thing, right? It happened and it exists in a time when there was a conversion period, right? So there was a need or a feel for the society or the class or the culture that existed at the time to feel like they had a place to go eternally. They had some sort of reward waiting for them, and the Valkyrie, the Valkyria, that spirit, that essence existed in the lore, and it was brought into the lore to give some sort of validation to the culture and to the society at the time, as like, hey, what you do, what happens when you die, these are the spiritual forces that exist to carry you on into that next level of existence after your physical body dies. Again, with interest to the video that I did, parts of the self, the existence of ourselves, are so much more complex as heathens. We don't just exist in our physical and our mental and our spiritual selves. We have so many parts of ourselves that exist. We have our, you know, the Homer, our physical being, that which what we are known by our physical self, the Homer. We have the Huger. We have the things that exist in our thought and our memory. We have the Hamingya. We have the Philia. We have all of these different parts of ourselves that exist, that transcend beyond our physical existence, that exist beyond in a spiritual sense. It's a very in-depth and it's a very complex sort of dynamic that exists overall. Okay, so in terms of the experience of a Valkyrie or the Valkyria that exists for us as modern humans, I can't say that I've experienced it, and what others experience is their own thing. What you experience is your own thing, so for sure I'm not discounting what you feel, because again, that's your own thing, and I don't think anybody is, but other people may have some insight. And there are other animistic heathens, like the whole animism is something that I think exists very lively in heathenry, but just isn't spoken about a whole lot. So definitely don't feel that you are exclusive in your practices or in your approach. Just reading some of the comments, everybody. So just bear with me as I'm answering questions. I'm trying to give attention to the questions that are being posted. I'm looking at Spencer Wells. We as heathens identify with one God more than other gods, and that God we identify is then, quote, your God, like your identity in a sense. So first of all, let me recognize and let me say hello to Aaron Prisk, who's coming from a Christian upbringing. So thank you, Aaron, for commenting in the live stream, watching the live videos. So Storm Singer, to sort of hit on your question. Actually, no, it wasn't Storm Singer. It was Spencer Wells. Sorry for the confusion of the names. I'm trying to make sure that I got everybody. So Spencer Wells was asking that we as heathens identify with one God more than other gods. I think that ultimately applies to the individual, right? There's not one sort of global approach to things. For instance, I myself have an affinity that I feel drawn towards the characteristics of Thor, the characteristics of Tyr, the characteristics of Odin. Some of the things that I read about in the lore that I am specifically drawn to and have an affinity towards, knowing that all the gods in the pantheon have faults or flaws, just like myself as an individual, as a human, have thaws or flaws. Thaws, like I'm warming out. Flaws, things that are inherently wrong with me, that were inherently wrong with the divine or with the sacred. They have certain things that they're not 100%. They're not all great, right? They're not the perfect ones that from other religious or spiritual backgrounds, thinking that are divine are all great and all knowing and all powerful. No, they have flaws, they have problems, they have things that they deal with, and we can connect with them in that way because we ourselves are also flawed. So the specific traits and the specific parts of these deities, various heathens may connect with in their own way, and they may feel like they are drawn to that specific deity. And they may feel a certain connection with that deity more so than the others, even though there are a numerous amounts of gods and goddesses that exists within the pantheon. So they may feel that yes, there are multiple gods and there are multiple goddesses, but we have certain things that we feel connected to with them by ourselves because of our own traits and our own personalities. I myself, I'm a bit I tend to lean more towards the reactionary approach to life. So in that sense, I feel a bit more connected to Thor, where he's like, strike first, ask questions later. But on the other sense, and on the other hand, I feel a connection to Tyr, because I also like to weigh out the, ideas and things that happen in a situation and focus on that aspect of it instead of just being reactionary, right? Weigh out the good overall for the tribe, the overall good versus the reactionary good. And then there are parts of me that feel very connected to the aspects of Odin, where I seek wisdom and I am unsatiated. I can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of the knowledge. I can't seek enough without finding enough. And there's always this level of, what is this person thinking to do against me? What is that person thinking to do against me? There's this sense of like, I don't know, it's like a madness or a sense of just there's something sort of going against me, right? So there's a lot of different things that exist within the pantheon of the gods that we can, as ourselves as mortals and as parts of the profane in existence, our own mortal selves in existence, in the level of the profane that we can connect with, because the gods are in their sacred realm, sort of transcend that existence. They transcend that level of existence, I should say. But we still feel levels of connection. We still have parts of what the gods experience in the lore and the parts of themselves that we have pulled from, that we can say, I relate to that, right? Just catching up here. Jimmy E. Step says feels that he's connected to Odin for various reasons, but he speaks with all of them on different ones. Hello, coronavirus coughs in chat and leaves with a like. Well, thank you for the like, coronavirus. Appreciate that. Storm Singer says he's curious to know if full true is a historically or lore-based idea, or if it is a modern invention. Full true. That's a new one for me, Storm Singer. I'm not sure where you got that from and where that is, what information that is pulled from. But if you could elaborate a little bit in the comments about what you're talking about, that's literally the first I've ever heard of such a thing. So Spencer Wells says, for example, I said Thor was my guy. Hello, William Emberoot, who says, hail from Texas. We do think there is a particular way, or do I think there is a particular way one should give an offering to Thor in the sense of using a more ceremonial approach, because he tends to give in the moment. So guys, I've worked with Thor for years, in my own personal ritualistic practices. Thor is kind of he's the big brother type. Like, I like working with him because he's always there to be there. Like, he's not a very hard deity to invoke in terms of wanting to be present with you. You can, you got some good meat, you got some good ale, you got some good alcohol, something or whatever, like just the party aspect of Thor. The big brother, just he's ready for the fight. He's ready for the conflict, and in any of those sorts of things, he's going to be easily invoked. But once he is there, once you have brought him into your space, and once you have invoked the divine into the profane, or invoked the sacred into the profane, he's a bit of a loose cannon, I'll say, and the goats that pull his chariot, Tooth Gnasher, Tooth Grinder, these essences of just brutality. You've got to be ready, and you've got to be willing to be on that level of working with that essence of a divine deity. It's not any sort of like peaches and cream, bells and whistles. No, he's here and he's ready to throw down, and he's ready to just make himself known and be the known and be a part of what it is that you're invoking him for. That's my involvement with Thor. Thor is just the quintessential party man. Like, he just gets in there and he's like, guys, I'm here and I'm ready to tear some stuff up. And you called me, so I don't want to ask questions. I'm just here to do some stuff. That's Thor to me. And that's what Thor has been to me for as many years as I've been working with him. And Thor is being a part Jotun. I was reading a comment from Keeper of Solitude. Great comment. Says Thor and Skadi tend to be the gods that he connects with. Skadi is part Jotun, and has Jotun connections, and Thor also has Jotun connections. So he has that essence of chaos, and he has that essence of destruction, but destruction in the sense of defense, right? The thorn, Thors. This is the rune that is very, very closely connected to Thor, and because he has that connotation with the Jotun parties and the Jotun race, there's a definite essence of chaotic, just storming rage. Okay. But the great thing about Thor is that the rage and the power that he has as a war god, as an Aesir god, is that of protection as well. He's defensive, and he's protective of ourselves as mankind, and that is why I feel that our ancestors were so drawn to Thor, and that why we as modern heathens still can feel so drawn to Thor, because Thor has always been the everyman's god. He has been the agriculture god. He's, you know, the hammer. If I can show you guys, you know, I've got a hammer here, who or which actually is you know, part of a you know, a ritual hammer. You know, so I have Thurusas burned into this hammer, and this is part of my ritual work, and it is, you know, it's very simple looking, it's very basic looking, and it doesn't have any sort of bells or whistles attached to it. But this is an ancient tool of construction and destruction, right? So I have built ritual space. I have established ritual space with this hammer. I have, you know, beat things into the ground to establish sacred space with this hammer. And the hammer has been ceremoniously and historically spoken of in our sources as being a tool of construction and as well as destruction, but as well as a tool of hallowing, of blessing. If you read in the Poetic Edda, you know, when Thor goes to retrieve his hammer in Thrymskvida, okay, in that particular poem, you know, when Mjolnir has been stolen, the hammer is brought and laid upon the lap of the bride as a sort of hallowing or blessing item. And in that particular poem in Thrymskvida, when Thor is dressed in disguise as Freya, you know, when Mjolnir is laid on his lap, his eyes become red, enraged, and flaming. He grabs his hammer and he starts striking down the Jotun that stole the hammer, and everybody that was in that hall was slain by Mjolnir. But so the hammer has a lot of things connotated with it. There is blessing, there is destruction, there is construction, there is hallowing, there is all sorts of things connected to the hammer, which is connected to Thor. And you know, so Thor for me carries so many things. There is blessing, there is protection, there is defense. I love Thor. I love the essence of Thor, and I love what he's able to provide in my ritual work. So there's that. Reading the comments, leaning more towards Tyr. I've worked with Tyr as well, but Tyr is a different type of deity to work with, and it's very cut and dry with Tyr for me. I've done some stuff with Frigg as well, you know. Frigg is the All Mother. Frigg has this, you know, sense of the mothering, nurturing aspect of life in the hearth and the home, and I love what Frigg brings to a ritual. It's very mothering, it's very loving, it's very enveloping, it's very protective, with what she has to offer. Thank you for watching from Ontario, Canada, Keeper of Solitude. Outlaw Jones doesn't believe people who intentionally die make it into Valhalla or Folkvagner. Feels that if you are fated to die in battle, you will, but if you fight to the last, no laying down and dying. Again, as I said, I did a video tonight. Let me just post it down in the comments for everybody who is just now joining and watching, about my personal view, my personal concept of Valhalla, right? How it fits into us as modern heathens. You got to understand the concept of Valhalla was brought into a culture, a war band, a warrior cult culture that existed during and post Christian Scandinavia times. Okay, so when Valhalla is talked about and when we see it presented in the documented text that we have, it all is happening during a certain specific period of time. The war band culture was a thing, and overall, ultimately, what existed, how life was deemed by the I think the Archean culture society, um, was that, you know, you ultimately went into the mound. Your parts of yourself went into the mound, but there were parts of yourself that also existed within your clan. You know, so there were parts of yourself that lived on after death, that went to the families and parts of the clan that existed at the time. This whole Valhalla thing um, was like, you know, focused on the warrior cult, the war band culture that existed at the time. Because what better way, what better existence could a warrior think to have in eternal life than to be a chosen warrior, a chosen soldier of their war god, right? Odin, Wotan, Woden, all these various names of a supreme deity that existed in various cultures within Germanic society. So you've got that. You got to include that. Like people think nowadays, like, I fight a battle. I've, you know, experienced hardship. I've all, you know, and then they go to Valhalla, and it's like, guys, you know, I am by no means a leading authority as to say that you think the wrong thing and that you shouldn't think that way. But I'm just like, come on, like, think about it. Like, this was something that existed at a specific period of time in certain time where society existed in a certain way, and we just don't have that now. We just don't have that now. Like, yes, we have, and, you know, when I say we, I'm talking about, I exist in the United States of America. I exist in the, you know, live in the North American continent, and our military, our United States military, consists of how many different branches? You've got the United States Army, Navy, Marine Corps, Air Force, Coast Guard, right? Like, I mean, you've got so many different branches of the military. It's like, are you serious to me? Like, do you really think that any of the people who swear an oath to uphold the Constitution of the United States, that they are just automatically going to be lumped into this, you know, when you die, you're going to Valhalla and you're going to, you know, be part of the Einherjar and you're going to fight in Ragnarok? And it's like, let's think about, like let's just be reasonable. Like, let's try to provide some logic to our level of thinking. That's all I'm saying, guys. Okay. All right, so let me just read through some of the comments. Zachariah Pierce, have the runes speak to you? Zachariah, if you are still here and if you're watching and if you're asking, yes, I have. I've worked with the runes for several years, and have I actually make rune sets for supporters of this channel, people that watch my videos, people that watch my live streams on Facebook. I make rune sets out of birch and driftwood, and the runes do speak to me. I am a Vitki. I work with the runes daily, and I have you know, I have a good understanding of the runes in themselves, not just the elder Futhark, but younger Futhark, and so your question to, if I don't know if you're just shooting it out there for everybody to ask, but yes, the runes have spoken to me, and they do continue to speak to me. Thank you for the comments, Storm Singer. Thank you, everybody, for watching, guys. So here's the thing: everybody that's watching live on YouTube right now, I've got 13 live viewers that are going on. This is tremendous. Here's my goal. All right, if anybody who's been watching my channel for the last couple years has known, I try to always shoot for the next biggest thing. Always shoot for the next biggest goal. My first goal or excuse me, my second goal for 2019 was to get to 2,000 subscribers here on YouTube before 2020, by or before 2020. And we're like way beyond that. We actually hit that goal beyond the set goal at the beginning of the year. So here's my next goal. I know I want to get to 5,000 subscribers by the end of 2020, which is a huge and tremendous goal to even set. But as of right now, there are nearly 3,200 hours. When I say hours, I mean 3,200 hours of watch time here on this channel. Guys, what I'd like to try to do is get to 4,000 watch hours. Okay, I want to get to 4,000 hours of watch time. And that's huge. Before, I don't know, let's say like July. Okay. Right now it's March, and July, is, April, May, June, July, 4 months away. So here's how you can help. Here's how everybody that's watching right now can help. Share the videos. Share the videos that are already been published here on the YouTube channel. Every video that I upload on a weekly basis or every couple of weeks, just share them around. Put them on your social media platforms, and tag people in them. Tag them for people to watch them. And let's get up to that 4,000 hours of watch time, because I would love to get to that by mid-year this year. Even if we don't get to 5,000 subscribers by this year, all it really comes down to is continuity of watch time, right? I know I don't do a whole lot of these live streams here on YouTube a lot. Maybe I will try to do some more of these, since I see a lot of good feedback and a lot of good questions being posted here. So let me know down below. Let me know in the comments that you're watching right now. Let me know if you'd like to see more of these YouTube live streams, because if you do, I would definitely like to try and make that a part of my repertoire of visibility out here on the social media platform. So I'm going to go ahead and end the live stream. Thank you all so much for watching tonight. Please be sure to check out the video that I posted tonight. It's going to be down here in the live stream again. Share it around. It's going to be on the topic of Valhalla. How about, I think we're not going to Valhalla, this, that, and the other. So let me know what you guys think. Please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Thank you all again so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And until next time, hail. May your ancestors smile on you, and may your hearth fires always burn bright. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.